The USC offense came into the 2023 season expecting to pick up where they left off at the end of the 2022 year, and that is exactly what we saw at the start of the season. We saw big-time offensive outputs against San Jose State, Nevada, and Stanford, but since then it has been very up and down and has looked downright clunky at times. So when we ask the question, what's wrong with the USC offense? A blanket statement like it's just the offensive line or Caleb has regressed might get thrown out there, but as with most things, it's not quite that simple. So in today's video, we will look at the things that have plagued the Trojan offense since returning from the bye week that obviously culminated in that dreadful showing in South Bend. We'll talk about it all next. What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome into the Trojan Blade. Today's video is presented by the Trojan Blade Patreon. When you sign up on the Patreon, you get access to exclusive film study videos we do over there. I'm not going to do one this week. Me and the patrons agreed that we just need to turn the page over to Utah, but you can usually find those over there. You also get early access to some videos, and you'll see your name in every single one of my videos as well. And when we hit 100 members, I will be creating a Discord server where we can all talk SC football. So make sure to check that out. Thanks for being here. Let's get into this. So when I think about the issues with the offense, a few things really jump into my mind. First thing is major offensive line regression. Last year, the SC line was pretty fantastic. If you watched the channel last year, you might remember the breakdown of Andrew Voorhees where I highlighted a few of his really nasty plays. The line last year had a standard that was set internally. Those guys played hard and violent each and every week. Brett Nealon flying in to push Caleb across the first down marker is a perfect example of that. The line this year does not have that same mentality. They're pretty passive overall, I'd say. And Jonah Monheim is not included in this at all. He's been fantastic. But the 4 or 5 other guys, including Mason Murphy, are not at all playing at a championship level. There is zero tenacity. It's a very flat and unenergetic group. And guys, Justin Dietich's struggles have really impacted the offensive line in my estimation. When your center is having issues snapping the ball and is getting blasted back routinely during the course of a game, that affects everybody. As the Rams have shown us with Aaron Donald, there is no faster path to the quarterback than A-gap pressure. That's why when Justin gets beat off the ball, the whole play gets blown up. And when you look at when SC came back from the bye week, Justin's snaps started having more issues and his pass blocking grade fell off significantly. The offensive line in general is just something that I whiffed on in the offseason. I specifically remember saying that although this line won't have a player as good as Andrew Voorhees, I do think the line will be better this year. Now, I'm not embarrassed to admit I was wrong, primarily because my thought process wasn't flawed. Kingston was a great player at Wazoo, Pregnon was solid at Wyoming, and Tarquin was also solid at Florida where he went up against some of the best pass rushers in college football. The SEC is extremely overrated, however their pass rushers are not. And Justin Dietich was originally a center and played well in the Tulane game at that spot. What I did put far too much stock in was USC offensive line coach Josh Henson. I anointed him as a top line coach in the country, and this year I think he's proven that he's not that. I mean, we're 7 games in and we're still rotating our right tackle. I'm sorry, but big-time programs and big-time offensive lines don't do that. That's some JV shit, to be frank. Injuries in fall camp, late arrivals, I don't want to hear the excuses. You handpicked these guys from the portal. When Clay McGuire was here, he fixed that line in one offseason. They went from a weakness to a strength. He didn't have the privilege of using the transfer portal. People like to forget that in that 4-8 2021 season that the O-line was actually pretty damn good. So Henson pretty much inherited a group that had been together and gelled very well. When a different guy that wasn't in that group had to come in last year, it was rough. Quinones, Murphy, Cortland Ford, but the core group was already established and played very well. Bobby Haskins being the one outlier that I do want to credit Coach Henson for identifying and preparing. But in general, I need to see it going forward from him. It's my fault for putting him on a pedestal so early. I'm going to back off that and wait and see here. And all of that applies to the tight ends as well. Jude Wolfe had an awful whiff in the ND game that cost us a conversion, and Lake has had some real bad moments blocking as well. And don't even get me started on Austin Jones as a pass blocker. Now, the second biggest issue for the offense is the lack of an elite number 1 wideout. So real quick here, what makes an elite number 1? I'd say it's a combo of sure hands, big time speed, yak ability, and the most important of them all, route running. In other words, Jordan Addison. Brendan Rice is a great player, big time athlete, but the route running isn't on that level. Dorian Singer was thought by many to be that guy, but the lack of athleticism is real and he just doesn't have the juice to be that guy. Last year, it didn't matter what the defense did, you just knew Addison was going to make a play. And man, we're feeling his absence this year big time. Zachariah is absolutely on his way to being that. and probably more if we're being honest, but at this point in time, I would classify him more as a weapon than a true receiver. I think Mario Williams has fallen off quite a bit. Kyron Hudson is solid at everything but isn't special in any way. Taj is an elite slot receiver but not a number one. My point is that when we have to make a big play, there isn't that guy that you know without a doubt is going to beat his guy, or guys in Addison's case, and make a big time play. I don't really buy into the no one gets separation take about them. I just think that there isn't that guy that week in, week out shows up and steps up in those key moments. My third issue is a lack of touches for Marshawn Lloyd. Notice I didn't say carries, but touches. A lot of people say we need to run more. While I think there is a touch of truth to that, we are not a good running offensive line. They're far too soft to be dominant at run blocking. That doesn't mean you can't implement Marshawn into the game more though. We saw it last week on that cool option play that he scored on. Let's see more of that. Let's run more screens. Let's run Wildcat. I don't care what it is. He is the most consistently explosive player on the SC offense, and he needs the ball in his hands far more often than what he's currently getting. The fourth issue, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I have no clue what goes into any of it. I will say that in regards to Lincoln's scheme and play calling, it does seem like opposing coordinators have figured out some things to give this offense fits. Some things like really aggressive blitzing, corner blitzes, double safety blitzes, man coverage. We don't seem to handle that very well. And I'm not going to act like I have a fraction of the knowledge Lincoln does in regard to play calling and scheme. That's just something I noticed. And lastly, the fourth biggest issue has been the play of Caleb Williams. Now, if you guys follow me on Twitter or listen to me regularly on here, you'll know that I don't blame Caleb for the loss to ND. He's had one bad game in 2 years at SC. He's allowed a stinker, the rest of the offense wasn't there for him. But even despite that, there are some issues that have been plaguing him for weeks now. Last offseason, what did we say Caleb had to do to take that next step and become a complete player? He had to learn to take the easy play, hit the layups. But this year, not only is he not doing that, it feels like it's worse than last year. The checkdowns are staring him right in the face at times, but for whatever reason, he just refuses to take it. This offense simply can't afford to have that happen anymore. Our skill guys are too good in space to not allow them an opportunity to make a play. Caleb's accuracy has also been way off. His pinky has been taped the last few weeks. Now, I don't know if there's an issue with it, but that would explain some of the misfires. Going to South Bend was the first time I had ever seen him live, and what really stuck out to me is how panicky he looked. He does not appear to trust the line in front of him at all, and I can't say I blame him, but it's really affecting his game. He's also had multiple opportunities to run for an easy 6 to 7 yards, and he hasn't taken it. I don't know what's going on with him and this offense as a whole, but everything is clunky and flat. It's so strange to watch. But guys, all of that raises a question. How do we fix it? To me, I don't know how you entirely fix it, but I do have some things that could help. So first of all, this may sound harsh, but on this channel, I keep it real. Mario Williams and Dorian Singer need to see their snaps get significantly reduced. Mario is far too inconsistent, and up to this point, Dorian really hasn't shown us anything special. Nothing that says that he deserves that number one wideout role. I would much rather see Deuce Robinson out there, give more snaps to Mike Jack. I still think Raleigh Brown would help this team a ton. A Tavon Austin kind of role would be great for him in my opinion. And guys, all options need to be on the table for the right side of the line. Tarquin and Murphy have been bad at right tackle, and Kingston just looks lost out there over at right guard. He is far too good of a player to be having some of the reps he's putting on film. Look, I don't know what the blanket fix is, but I'm also not being paid over $10 million a year, and I'm not the one keeping people out of practice. If people could watch practice, we wouldn't have to speculate the way we do. Lincoln's being paid to figure stuff like this out, and it needs to happen fast. If the O-line keeps playing the way it has been, we're going to get ran through by Oregon and Washington, and we're going to have big-time struggles against UCLA, Utah, and even Cal. It needs to get fixed now. It's really so frustrating to see this offense operating the way it has been. I have faith that it'll get fixed, and if it doesn't, man, I can't even handle that thought right now. Look, guys, that'll do it for me today. If you did happen to enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do want to help support the channel in an even bigger way, make sure you head over to the Trojan Blade Patreon that I have linked down below. Also, check out the Trojan Blade store while you're at it. And guys, thank you all so much for being here. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.